All right, guys, welcome to the podcast. My name is Wes. I got my new friend Jeremy here with me. He is the creator behind BECKONED. Jeremy, do you want to give us a little bit of introduction?
Yeah, hi. The heavy breathing is my dog, Talon. I've got two of them, so if they're a pain in the butt on the sound or anything, my bad. It's my problem. But I'm Jeremy. I'm the creator, writer, artist for the IP Beckon, for the comic book Beckon Recourse, video games, all that stuff. World building is something that I love to do, so I'm basically an open book on all that and nerdy. So quantum physics, fantasy stuff, old Lord of the Rings things, just yeah. It's all
Can we see
manifesting.
your trailer, the cinematic trailer? Can we pull that up real quick to show
Yes,
people?
sir. Yes, sir. Give me 1 second. I'm bring it up. Talent, come on now. You want me to send you the link for it?
No, just add it to the stream, and I'll just pull it up on stage.
Okay, we'll do. Getting it all set up for you. Again, the dog's going, hey, it's me. Remember?
It's all good.
Okay. Trying to let it load up a second. Turn the volume up. When I did that, I don't know if I hit the let me do that again. Got to hit the volume when I present that so it shares. All right. Right there. Yep. Okay. You should have ready.
All right, let's check it out. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, dude. I don't know how well that came through on the recording, but I'm going to include the link to all your stuff in the description
Thank you
box
very
below.
much. My settings on that were low DPI because I just got off a stream. So I try to keep everything, for efficient. So I tried to get it back up to that 1080 somewhere in the middle, but
yeah, and you just finished your live stream where you're painting on this piece. So like, can you tell us a little bit, like, what is Beckoned? Like, I know you told me a little bit before that you have games in the works, or you have a game in the works, and then you also have this comic. So can you give us just what is the overall scale of the project?
Beckoned is a big epic that takes place in this alternate fantasy world called Lavanas. It's primitive technology based. It's not as advanced in techie and robots and wires and electricity. They have this. They have two substances on the planet that are trying to basically struggle for control. There's the crystals, which they're called lodins in this world, and they work off a harmonic resonance and your brain frequency. Because of their vibration, there's a spiritual like force called the Shadrea, and that is contending with this darker, seemingly foreign substance, but it's always been on the planet, called denethite. So it's a black substance. It feeds off of living tissue. It, basically turns any living thing into a host for itself. But the host is still cognitive, like they still have consciousness. They're still in control slightly. But these two forces are putting all the life forms on the planet into this kind of power struggle. This whole kingdom called Thal, an empire, uses denethite as its main structural source of power and economic growth and domination, military. So they use denethite as a resource to build up all of their might. Well, for a few hundred years, they've slaved the Jiri, which the Jiri are enslaving themselves because a lot of the Thalians that are running this thing are Jiri. It's these half monkey, half people that you're seeing in this first book, Beckon Recourse. They are the Jiri. This book takes place in the kingdom of Tulabanya, or their home of Tulabanya. It's not really a kingdom, set up, politically like that, but it's in a giant tree. It's been their home for the past 100 years. Prior to that, they were enslaved by Thal and surrounded and helped mine and develop denethite. Well, they broke free from it. One of their own rose up and led them all out, like Moses, led the Israelites, got them out of there and found this big tree that they made a home in. So they've been raising their family, but that same leader that led them out is heavy into the Lodin magic and started to learn and teach himself techniques and everyone around him the deeper side of this magic. And at the roots of this tree, they find a human boy mixed that has crystals growing off of him, out of him, and is being consumed by this dark mass denethite that's in the roots of the tree, but it doesn't spread. And they are intrigued by that it seems like it's this child that's stopping the growth from taking over the whole tree. So it gives them a symbol of hope that the more they figure this out and learn about this, maybe they'll be able to save the planet and rid it of denethite and Thal's scourge. So our comic story, or the story at large, properly being told, without a huge exposition of thousands of years and all that buildup I just did, is we're following a father who is going to work and things go bad. It sounds pretty kind of run-of-the-mill, kind of boring, but this is a magic world. They're dealing with a magic system. He works for the highest magic order that around the crystals so far, around the Lodin. So he's testing to become one of the top ranked in this book, and the test kind of it goes bad. So this is also the beginning of the MacGuffin, the forging of the great ring of power kind of story in this one. So it's a lot of introduction, a lot of action. Like the whole half of this first book is basically the conflict that happens inside the denethite chamber. So we're going to go from that. We're going to get through this. And then in the games, there's a 10 book issue plan after these 3 first books, which will complete a prologue. And then I've got kind of a side story that is canon. It builds up the main character's backstory, but the main character of the game, who's a child at the time, 10 years old. It's an amnesic character. I'm not going to be overusing flashbacks or anything, but I wanted a slate that the audience can grab towards, a character the main character can kind of grow with, because we're going to be teaching this little insignificant, nothing super special, no superpower type kid, just a hothead, and we're going to raise him to basically destroy something that's beyond space and time that may even tether all of us together and tether the Fury and all the den of the Divanus life and all that, and saving all of that. But he's got two other pals going along with him. So they are native. Like they have their memories. They're native to the lands that they're going to. So with the main character and the audience will be learning how, not only how to survive, because that's kind of a norm thing in this story, in this world, or people are kind of just out of the advanced hunter and gatherer situation. They're really good at foraging. They're making their own medicines as they walk. They're familiar with things. So, and hunting is kind of a preservation stuff. It's part of mastering it. So I don't want these kids running around and killing all the animals, but kind of what's happening. But there's a mechanic plan that you're pacifying them. They won't attack you because they trust you. There's also a narrative reason for it, but I won't go into spoilers like that. But that's just the first game. The second, there's a trilogy collection of game storylines after that is more the Lord of the Rings like epic to tie it all together. So a lot of this is build up, me putting my art out there, putting my ideas out there, see if it's worth going that big giant scale towards the end. But each step needs to be accomplished first. So video games, books, we'll see what happens.
So yeah, before we started the stream, I was telling you that I'm really impressed by everything it is that you're doing, because it seems like you've already started to build a game on top of building this comic book, and like you were telling me before, this is just an interior page, which is insane.
Yeah, it's another medium for me to tell a story. I tell this story, it's bigger, and that's what everyone's like freaking out to me in games and everywhere else. Like, dude, it's just a big story. What are you doing? I love it. I've been working on it since I was 14, 15.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people say that, but what had happened was my art teacher in high school, I had a really good art program, dedicated teachers. They saw what I could do, and she was like, we're going to get you to Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. It's one of the biggest art schools out there, well respected. So I was like, okay, well, what's my, to get a scholarship, what do I got to do? And like, make a portfolio at this quality and that quality. And they're showing me all these examples of amazing art just out of one artist, the breadth and range that they had of ideas, mediums, some are painters, sketchers, sculptors, all that, all wrapped in one. And I was like, dude, okay. I don't know how I'm going to have that many genius ideas. I did, you keep rattling them off. I'm just in high school. So, but I love Lord of the Rings and was a Star Wars nerd for the original ones and stuff. I love Time Machine, love H.G. Wells type books, Red Wall series, the movies like Labyrinth, Lord of the Dark Crystal. I was rattling those off to you earlier. A lot of those Jim Henson practical effects, fantasy stuff, like really big into it. So I was like, okay, well, I have this idea. Oh yeah, me and my friends used to play Rollmaster a lot. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but it was a bit came out around I think second or first edition Dungeons and Dragons. It was a competitor, big old thick rule book. But me and my friends played that. His older brother taught us how to even kind of freestyle it a little bit, where we didn't need the modules anymore. We understood the rules and the sets, so we were sending each other into each other's imagination all the time when we hung out, just for fun. So I took some of that stuff and started to design characters, drawing characters from our imagination. And then around the same time, I was at a comic book shop playing Dungeons and Dragons and drawing everyone's D&D character for breadstick money at the Little Caesars next door. So, just to come back and keep playing. So I'm just taking a lot of these skills. And then, like I said, in high school right here, I said, okay, all of this stuff, why don't I just start making my own planet? And as long as I'm not going like Star Wars. Okay, well, it's Tatooine planet. Okay, paint everything beige. Everybody's spitting dirt or sand, and we're fine. That's a planet. No. Take all the variety of Star Wars and stick it on one planet. Like we really do. We have that variety in reality on this one ride. So, as long as I'm not afraid to jump into a new medium and express this world in a new way. So sculpture, I did it with sculpting a character, but I also played with some pottery. I've done things for the campaign, such as making these crystal daggers. And it makes an appearance in the book. So it's kind of like having the Romeo and Juliet dagger, but I did offer 3 of those on the campaign. I just want to so what I was saying is I got a lot of exposure and a lot of time to practice realizing and staying into this world. And my biggest design thing is just redesign everything. All the concepts that my brain's used to doing construction, table serving, computer work, artwork, I've done all kinds of stuff like agriculture. Take all that, take all the tools, invest, and just rethink them. And make sure they accomplish the same jobs and stuff, but just rethink them. And that made me infinitely kind of creative with stuff. I'm always approaching things that, okay, we're going to accomplish the same job, but we're going to look at it differently. I think it's called first principle, thoughts is kind of going into the reinventing it, but getting the same job done. And that's so we can make it better, make it more interesting. If hell, for this, it's just to make it original, just to keep it strange and alien, but relatable enough to be communicative. I mean, if I really turned up the notch on alien on this, and otherworldly, I mean, I don't expect to be able to say, tell the same narrative at the same depth if you're more concentrated on how weird that tree looks rather than, what's going on in the action. Because I could have put purple leaves on it, and I still not done. I still got to add flowers and stuff. I can add all kinds of crazy stuff to a lot of this, but I still want it to be relative because I am telling the story for an audience. I don't know if that answered the question.
No, totally. Yeah, yeah, man, there's an insane amount of detail. You said how many hours have you spent just on this one drawing?
On this one, it's over 100 already.
Over 100 hours.
Yeah.
So how are you getting? You said you're doing this full time. So are you using a Patreon or something, or like how are you?
No, I've done side work and I've done some artwork in the community, do some comic book stuff, but I do some daytime stuff with some friends and that run a couple companies. My older brother helps support. Like we're all kind of in this. We all believe in me. So the idea is I was already supposed to have the comic book out in August and us moving through, but it's a little late because of my ambitions for detail and clarity. We're all believing that when it's done, it's going to be worth it. So I have a lot of ideas, and I really hope everyone enjoys it. But yeah, it's something that I've been blessed to be able to have the chance to do. So I'm just trying my damnedest to squeeze every ounce of that opportunity. So we're about 6 pages from having the art finished, and I'm doing the layouts, the designs, the color, the line art. You can watch me on my stream do it like Bob Ross. So I mean, I'm not saying happy tree, but we're having a little bit of fun over there.
So what was it like whenever people started to respond to your work? I mean, was it from doing the live streams and then like just connecting with groups on Twitter?
Yeah, when I began to try to crowdfund the game for the first time, I haven't done it a second time, but we do plan to try a second. That was my kind of high world. I'm here and I've got this idea. Look how cool it is. And we crowdfunded even with the prototype on Steam. And it's still there, free to play prototype on PC for PC gamers. We will port it to others. We just want to make sure it works right on the computer. But we tried to crowdfund that and asked a lot of money. No one knew who we were. They just saw the art and the concept, and we still rose over 9,000. Like,
wow,
right off that, I was like, whoa, that's cool. All right, so you guys like what I'm doing. All right. But I have a buddy named Joe Catapano who put out his first comic book, him being a big fan of comics. While me and him, we went to the same high school. That art teacher he knows very well. They're close to the family. He was working on his book Star Circuit while I was working on the game, and I would call him and we'd be talking world building or project or where we're at. And he's going, man, you should be doing a comic book, dude. And so like, it's been in the back of my head for a while. I said, dude, when I get my prototype done, you'll get your comic done. And he did. He got it crowdfunded and I had mine ready to go. So I tried to crowdfund the game. When the game didn't hit though, I had met so many people within the comic community by going on these comic fan shows and going, hey guys, I have a game. What? We do comics here. It's like, yeah, but yeah, no one really shunned me. They were just like, okay, what's this dude doing? So I got by. Pete Cimetti was my first interview. He did this open mic show where he would interview, like speed interview for like 4 or 5 minutes. And Timmy the timer would go off. So you had like 4 or 5 minutes to pitch it really quick. It was a lot of fun. Really. But over that, I met a few artists that were shilling their books in the same rotation, and people get to meet your energy, get to meet you, get to see how excited you are about your own project. So we all started connecting on Twitter and saying hi, and then finding out each other has shows. So we're going to each other's streams and saying hi and meeting everyone. And then it's been really cool, really fun. The reception was awesome. I'd say a lot of pressure, because when I came out like this with the detail, everyone now expects me to keep doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
So, and even...
So you're...
Yeah.
So you're only 600 hours away from completing the first. It's 100 hours on this one, so it's only 600 hours. It's like,
yeah, somewhere around. I think it's going to be a little less than that, because this is the last hard page I got to do.
Okay, so you do kind of scale it to some degree. It's like, okay, if it's a spread, then I'll go, or if it's a full shot page, then I'll just go bananas on it. But then on some of the other pages, you pare it down a little bit in order to keep the story.
A lot of it's what's in the shot, what's in the panels, what kind of background elements, because a lot of comic books they're graphic novels. I mean they're graphic design. So if I don't need a background detail, hell, I've seen panels that don't have any background at all. They're just using the strong poses and silhouettes to do it, and it's effective and it's great. I'm just doing something nutty and hope it comes out good. Like, yeah, totally. I guess when people told me, oh, don't do that. Well, now thanks for showing me which way to go. Like, I'm brand new into this. I don't know what the Marvel way is. I don't know what the DC way is. I don't know half the names of people. Heck, I was on shows in the beginning next to legends and had no idea. Like, when they jumped off the show, I'm like, well, who was that? They're like, are you serious, dude? I'm like, I don't know who anyone is. But I've learned. It comes off arrogant. No, it's just, I don't know anyone. It's a new space, but it's been a few years now. I've been around for like 3 or 4 years now. So it's nice. I really needed to work on the social media side, but I'm just too busy drawing this. So, well,
it seems to work to your benefit. Can we look at some of the other pieces you were? I mean, I feel like it works to your benefit to go like completely insane with the detail, and not knowing the media. I mean, like this one is insane, dude. This is really good. It's really unique too.
This was the first page I did coming off the game crowdfunder, and then I made the choice. Okay, I'm going to do a comic. this was me finding the style I was going to go with. And so I started thumbnailing it, and I got a guy, Noah, who's done Mavericks. He's in NTM. He's got his own show. You guys might know him, but he was like, dude, those aren't thumbnails. I was doing like gestures, very rough, but I was doing with the full page size. I know what thumbnails are. You know, I know what they are. I've drawn more than enough thumbnails in my life. I just wanted to feel it. I wanted to write by drawing it, by finding it, you know. So I had a basic story idea and, you know, bullet pointed and note carded. And then I was like, okay, let me just try to see and vision. I need something set. So I started doing it. He's like, don't do that. Those aren't thumbnails. Why not? They're too detailed. Okay, I wasn't trying to finish it. You know, I was just trying to get an idea down. But it kept building. And every time people went, whoa, I wanted to do that again the next time I showed them, because I didn't just do the whole thing and then show it. I was showing it in increments to kind of test the waters. Okay, is this okay? Is this not okay? Because when it goes to print, what's going to happen to all that detail? I mean, this is all going to get shrunk down. So I'm already doing the work knowing that a lot of the detail I'm doing, when it shows up, it's still going to be like top of the quality printer, you know, resolution. And I'm pretty sure it's going to keep a lot of it, because I did a little test print that was manga size. This one's going to be printed in the current, you know, standard size. But I printed a test print at manga, and it held a lot of the details. So I don't think anyone's going to bug out, but I do plan to make bigger versions or posters with some of the splash pages. So a lot of people have been asking for that. Like when you see the detail in the crosshatch, so I'll zoom up for a second. This is the area a lot of people love, is because of the bridges in the back, and but pop a lot of stuff in there. For me, the more I can envision it or see it myself, then that's one less question I have. So I can write more. I can work on other things and keep pushing. Adding little things like little side narratives, you know. But
yeah, dude. I mean, it's very clearly your vision, like we were talking about before. You know, it's obvious when you can tell somebody's doing something because they think it's going to get them work, or they think that it might get somebody optioned or something, versus somebody who's just losing themselves in the creative process and basically like channeling something from this vision it is that you have of this place. I mean, yeah, we talked about it before, but like, how do you feel about what you're creating? Like, do you feel like it's coming from you, or you feel like it's something that's being revealed to you, like you're looking in on another universe or something? Like, yeah, wow.
A lot of us see the world pretty linearly. I'm trying to see if my future is what affected my choices in the past. I'm trying to, or from a more sober linear perspective, just trying to like respect myself and give myself the real chance here to realize something for myself. I'm doing this independently. I'm owning everything. So no one can really take it from me, or I can't lose it. So, for me, is it coming from somewhere else? It feels like it at times, because I'm 37, so I've been doing the work. I've been fantasizing about this and the world and building out more than half my life now. So it's kind of always what it's done for me is in times where times are tough, times are rough, or I'm confused, or I can always go to it, get lost. And I've always got an angle to go. I've always got a direction from there. Like, It's something. It's freeing, but at the same time, it doesn't really feel like a curse. I mean, how can anyone be like, oh, coloring, oh? But when you do it for 14 hours for a couple of weeks, and some of the places I worked at, I mean, we were in crunch time for over a year, so
Oh my God.
we weren't doing stuff like this. Like, I'm really pushing stuff that no one else would let me do. I guess that's the other thing, is no one else wants to do this. It's too much work. But because of that, in the world we get, no one's going to do it. So you're never going to see it. So again, another one of those, don't do it. Well, now you're telling me exactly what I need to be different. Is it going to be hard?
Totally.
Yeah. Is it going to be rough? Yeah. But sometimes you just need to be the one person that's going to do it because no one else is going to. I mean, because a lot of it is that it's like there's too much detail. When you put too much detail in things, you're putting too many lines close together, then things get muddy in the read. For an audience member, it's too much to look at. I can't differentiate things. Well, I've had a lot of practice. I know about, not drawing, drawing with thinner, like line thickness, thinner and thicker lines, or the density of the line or the opacity of it. So, we do what's called line holds in comic books, where the line is got a little bit of color in it, just to kind of haze it out a little bit more. I just use a simple eraser, but just kind of like fudge erase it.
Do you have, so you're doing this all digitally? After you've done something like this, you wouldn't have wanted to do this traditionally?
Oh, I do. The difference is I'll be faster in traditional because that's how I'm trained. But I have been working in Photoshop for 12 years. So I love it. It allows me to take my traditional stuff and just go wild, even to the pixel perfect detail, which I'm trying to do. But I don't have to clean up brushes. I don't have to pay for paper. I don't have to constantly sharpen the pencil. I work with a mechanical pencil most of the time, and I love them because I don't have to sharpen them. For a lot of artists, that's limiting, but I've learned different sizes have different softness and hardness, just like drawing pencils. Watercolor and stuff, like I would love to do that way, but I would be limiting my what can come out of my imagination here. So you're seeing it. You're not seeing any photo bashing. There's not copy and paste, it's happening. I'm just using it to be clean and be fast. And the other thing is, in case there's mistakes, I can fix them. I just waste all that time. This is my first book. I am being fancy in one way, but I'm not trying to chop my legs off, on my first go. So I'm trying to work it safe. So each layer, each image and page has 1,000 layers, all, most of them all labeled. So, and I've had to do surgery. I've done that on the stream sometime. Be like, oh, my buddy Joe said this is wrong, so watch me change this, and it's all done. I just got to make an arm shorter or to make a face different. So I have to tear the thing apart, turning off layers right in front of your face, and then fixing it and patching it all together, and then it's done. You never even would have known. So, yeah.
So are you doing everything on a grayscale layer with like a pencil and then just adding color on top? Or
no, I'll show you. Let's see. I'll open up that one. Let's see right here. I'll open up the actual PSD because I'll need that to show you this. So the one I'm working on right now, the way I've always worked with video game assets and with just normal art. I'm a line artist. I'm a draftsman. I really like doing stuff like that. So I always go with line art first. Get your gesture, get your line. In comic books, they do that too. They get the penciling after a layout, and then they'll ink it. So there's a lot of that I'm doing, and that's a layer, just the line art itself. But then there's a color layer with a highlight layer in between it, and the color layers break down with everything. So if I wanted to change the hair color, the face color, the way the light is. So let's, I'm going to go to the line real quick. I've got a couple line layers where they duplicate, but yeah, it goes away. Now there's no line art in the character. There's a couple patches here. I got to be careful. I just turned off things. I don't remember which one. Yeah, I'm gonna dick around here, but I don't want to mess this up. Oh, it's freezing up. But yeah, everything's separate. Wow. Everything's on its own layer. You can see how tiny my scroll bar is in this Photoshop file.
Oh, wow.
So I've got all kinds of crazy stuff. It's so acting so slow right now. See, that's an old layer.
It's okay.
That's an old layer. Yeah.
So you do all your rendering with it. But what I'm asking is, like, you're doing all your rendering with basically a pencil brush with like something that has a texture to it?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. That texture you're seeing is just balls ass crosshatch.
Really?
Yeah. Let me get to us here. I'll show. Let's see. I know I just said it a second ago. So grabbing a.
Oh my God.
Grabbing a hard round with pressure sensitivity, which just controls the line weight.
Right.
And I'm working with a 2, like a 0.2.
Okay.
So let's say I wanted to add a shade on this forehead a little bit differently. I'm going to add a layer here so I can turn that off. So, and it may act slow. It's seeming like it is because I've got a lot of blending effects on the skin. So it's going to have to, but anyway, let's go. You just kind of keep building it up with different directions. You know, the more times you cross over, the darker it gets. So, I mean, I know it sounds like, oh, you could simply make a brush that does that. You can get, no, you can't, because the way the shapes are. Yeah. You know, you got to know which way to put your lines in the crosshatch to make it do that. If I get a little too strong with them, I'll just, like I said, come in with a soft eraser, just kind of pluck them out at a small strength and get them as fine as I need them to be. That's what I'm doing the whole time on my stream every Friday. You can watch me do it piece by piece and that's why it takes 100 hours a page. Like I said, sometimes it's insane and it's nutty, but that's why it's getting that texture that you're seeing. Some guys are like, how'd you get it to look like colored pencil? Or, you know, something like that. It's like, it's actual cross hatching. Like what I would do on paper, but I'm doing it on a Cintiq. So, you know, one of the drawing tablets.
And then, okay, so you render everything out the way it is that you're showing here, and then I'm assuming you have individual color layers underneath for each.
Yeah. So
for each body part.
Yeah. So I'll grab the shirt. That's why it's important to label.
Yeah, no kidding.
So get some basics. Like I have a base layer that's the silhouette shape. If I turn off all the color layers for the hair and the skin and stuff, but I label it. That's a shirt. That's the shirt trim, or that's the skin. I try to keep the skin all on same layers unless things get really crazy. But sometimes I have to separate a hand or a limb, you know, just to light it differently. But yeah, everything's on its own layer, even the facial blush, you know, to add that warmness in the face.
Okay.
You know, and in the knuckles and stuff. So everything's its own layer. Again, that allows me to do crazy things like and super quick. If we wanted him to have a crazy ass, let's see what we got. Purple Rain, you know, cape or something like that. It's super easy for me just to go in and change things. So why is that important? So when I get all of the book pages, when I get all the art done, I gotta look at all of them at once and make sure that the colors as the pages are moving on, all of that's working in some feng shui, right? Some nice arts and bits, because that'll make it easier on the reader. Now, if in any of those there's a color that's off or something that's not hitting right, I'm not freaking out having to call up my colorist and come up with another like 200 or whatever it's going to cost for him to go back in and get this right, or I just have to go into it and change it. So a lot of the hours that I'm putting into it is for that customization, for that ability, so I can make sure I finish this without any problems. So it is a big giant safety net working full digitally. But even Joe, for his second book, because Joe did put out Star Circuit 1. It's an awesome book. I got it right behind me.
Yeah.
He did traditional pencils and then digital colors for that first book. This time for his second book, he's going all digital. And I'm telling you, the guy had his skills just ramped up. And he understands what I'm talking about. No, it sounds like it's nerve-wracking to try to keep all of that stuff in line and accounted for. But the control you get, for me, I'm trying to tell you the best story I can and transport you to the world. I'm not here to be like, look how good I can paint, on this or that. I want to get there. I want to be able to do that because I understand it's worth more. I can sell the originals. It is more of a skill to master a craft, a traditional craft. Like I know it. I'm very familiar with carpenters and everything of the sort, and sculptors. I've met them. I've brushed shoulders with them. I've smoked cigarettes with them. I've lived with them. I understand that, but I'm trying to teleport you to a different world. So I'm going to use the best medium I can put as much into it as I can to teleport you there. And that's it. When it comes to the other stuff, I would really be risking it if I put all of this in and on the last couple pages, the last 6 pages, something screws up. And I can't repair something, or I have to fix it digitally to save it. So I just rather, let's just get there in the first place. Let's make it where it's going to be ending up. So
how far along were you in this process before you decided to what do you do to protect yourself in terms of somebody trying to steal your work, or I am sure you've got this stuff trademarked and whatnot, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, I do. That's one big thing. One of my last jobs, I got a good severance when it closed its doors. So I jumped on on that opportunity. I finally had some funds that I could get set up and make sure I had it all assembled right. So that was a great learning experience for me, is learning that process, being patient with how all of it turns out. And then just doing all the research. If I really wanted to do it, how far was I willing to do it? And I opened it in 2016 and we're still going. So, I'm happy about that. We haven't done too much, but you can see the quality. It takes a lot of time, and it is just me for the most part. My brother programs it, the video games. So, but everything else.
Can we see the game trailer?
Yeah, for sure.
The cinematic.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like we just scratched the surface of all the stuff we could talk about. We're gonna have to do another one of these.
We'll do another one. I've been on many shows multiple times, so I like it. It's fun talking and meeting. And again, I have a show too. You're more than welcome to come on.
Sweet. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm trying to hunt down in my queue. I thought I had it here. I know where A1 is. There we go. Okay. Clicking on it now. And I've got the whole playthrough on my channel too, so you can go watch the developers playthrough without commentary. I think we've shown it a couple times with.
You must engage the darkness.
No, give me a second. It's got to load. I've got bad internet.
Yeah, you're all good.
I
mean, it's all good, dude. I mean, like even if you just like go to the first shot and pause it for a second, like the first overview shot. Can you play it just for a minute and then pause it? Okay. Well, this looks really cool, but I was thinking the city view scene.
The what scene?
Where he's walking through the city.
Oh yeah.
Over the shoulder. So you drew and animated all of this.
Yeah.
And you set everything up.
My brother I planned out how the pieces sit on top of each other. I showed him Unreal Engine. I think it was 3 at the time. And yeah, I made the collision shapes and he put it together. And I mean, there's a lot of tricks to that. Like, cause most people do isometric games and every little piece is, individual. There's a little trick with this. Yes, that's how we got to make it if we do it that way. But he was first learning how to make video games. So I had to do a lot of that in my design, which made it easier for him. And to be honest with you, that's a lot of the heavy lifting in the game design right now is my 2D ability. So.
And so you're having to make decisions about like what overlaps with what.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Here, I'll just
go ahead and play it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and play
it. Gosh.
With the sound. Hold on, give me a second. Dang. Come on. There we go.
You must engage the darkness. If you are going to regain the memories lost to you. You must stay strong.
A lone child's presence does not bode well for the circumstances.
No one can pass. And inquisitive. It will be difficult.
Well, that's just perfect.
But try to remember. You are never alone.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's an insane amount of work you've put into your stuff.
Yeah. It's a love. I really don't know what else to do in my time. We all need to make money, and yeah, that's what I'm trying. You know, I'm trying to get myself set up with something that I don't have to worry about crumbling or, ever losing.
But you used to work for indie game studios, so I imagine if it comes down to it, then you can do stuff like that. Because I mean, your skill set is just unreal. It's just
that's the other thing is this is a really good portfolio. So like I get a chance.
What I've found that is really interesting about interviewing people that are doing this stuff is like in the making of it, you almost don't even realize how much what you're making is going to impact other people around you and how it's going to impact your life, because like, I interviewed Joe, your buddy. And I mean, he's really, really cool, but like it makes me realize that we're kind of we're kind of oblivious to the way it is that it's affecting other people. Because I look at Joe's stuff, and with my comics, I look at Joe's stuff, and I'm like, it gives me inspiration. Every time I meet somebody who put themselves out there like that, and I see the way that everything in life seems to like conspire with them to help them bring that thing.
Oh man, it doesn't feel
And-
like it. It feels the exact opposite.
Really? It doesn't feel that way at all.
It feels that from this seat, it feels like
Mhm.
so much is against. A lot
Really?
of
Okay.
times. Yeah, but you bring up a good point. Like, and Joe straight up told me if it was what inspired him to get going on Star Circuit was watching me take Beckon
Mhm.
seriously and get it set up. So, I mean, we fed off each other like crazy, but it's that is what keeps me going, is that camaraderie. Because although it feels like everything's against there, I'm still able to do it, still get it out. So I had to have opportunities right there. It's just, man, sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess that's what I mean is like sometimes from a moment to moment basis, it can seem like you're going up against the world or something. But then when you can pull back, you can see that like if it wasn't for these, like, you know, if it wasn't for the severance pay you got from the job that you had previously, then you wouldn't have been able to put this into it, and how much of a blessing it is to put yourself completely into something. Because most of the time people get an idea and they just don't follow through with it. They don't do anything with it because there's that initial fear. And so it's like you have to, what I think is so interesting about being an artist, and why I think it's like the purest thing, you know, like everybody online is like trying to, they're trying to make videos or trying to make books or whatever about like how you should live life, you know, like all these advice type books and these self-help type shit, right? And so much of it's so phony. But what makes art is that you, like, if you commit to this vision it is that you have to give it everything. You can't do it half-ass. Like, you can be an accountant and you can be in a half-ass accountant and get by perfectly fine. You know, you can go and get a government job and you can just sit there and you can just collect a paycheck. But with being an artist, it's like it takes everything. It takes your heart, it takes your balls, it takes fucking everything to put it into doing something like this. And so it's coming from like this very genuine place, which is just the imagination. Like I said, you can feel it coming off of your work, the authenticity of it. And I think that's what's so interesting about it.
Thank you.
It immediately captivates and grabs people's attention. It does, because you can feel it. It's like my issue with like the AI stuff that people are doing now. Like, I've had people talk to me about the AI stuff, and I'm like, it's not about the end process. Like, the people that actually consume the work, they can feel the amount of effort that was put into it. You know, it's not about just churning something out.
I think a lot of what I'm doing that's different than what the AI stuff is able to do at the moment. I mean, I'm sure with the right prompt or tricking it, you can look. I slowed the video playback down so you can look at the frames of the sprite anime and see when they're blinking.
Yeah.
Or when, like, the heartbeat of the snake.
Yeah.
And the reflections and how they're moving across. That's all hand done. like I'm doing all that like Disney did frame by frame. I could bring those up and show you how those break down too. That's no different than you know, my comic pages. But I love those little tiny moments in hand done animation that gave things more life. And I don't know if an AI, I think a person that would use AI to do it would be like, okay, great. We got a snake there. Great. Is it breathing? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. That's all we need. Yeah, that's all I needed too. And that snake's not done. But I got this really cool heartbeat effect going on. Or like when the mom of these glags, she's got the claws, runs up. It's got like this, we call it the nutsack, kind of jumbling around, you know, as it runs up. Like
Yeah.
there's these little things like that, or like Taj when he's taking a potion or taking a hit or blocking, the facial expressions, you know, and they go past the screen like that.
Yeah.
But in games, especially these like one design like this, you're gonna see that animation over and over and over and over and over and over again. So it's got to keep your interest every time a person looks at. Oh, I didn't notice that detail last time.
Mhm.
I think Anel, the girl, when she breathes, like her hand flexes on the knife or something. Like, and if you played sprite games like you and I probably did when we were young,
Mhm.
you got to
Mhm.
see those. We don't see that much anymore. So
No, it's this sort of like authorship that you see in this new like wave of like people doing their own independent stuff. There's like a level of authorship and like commitment to it that I don't think that we always see, because then there's a lot of people in the indie scene that are also just trying to flip a buck. There's a lot of people that do that sort of thing too. Dude, I wish we had more time to talk.
We'll
don't.
do it again.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to, because I'm only on an hour Wi-Fi here at this place, and so I don't know if
Yeah. You told me, and like I said, we'll try to get you on my show too sometime.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and end the recording here, and we'll talk for a few more minutes before this cuts out.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and chatting and showing us your comic and your game. All the links to Beckend and Jeremy's social media stuff, it'll all be in the description box below, so you can go and check it out on Steam, check out the demo there, and then his Twitter as well as his YouTube where he streams, and any other links he sends me. So thanks guys for watching.